Welcome back to Scinary Information Nexus, your podcast of shame.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Friday, March 20th. It is the equinox, or the first day of spring, as it were, for us. Hope everybody's doing well. I am joined today, as always, by my colleagues Joseph Hamilton,
Yo,
Mario Ortiz,
hello,
and Brazos Wortham in his traditional pink shirt.
Yep.
We have got a lot to cover today. We've got to go back over the Stryker attack for sure. We got to get into Microsoft's Intune, how all that works and how that played into the Stryker attack. We need to talk a little bit about Google. We teased this last week that we may have had some news about Google. It's not as juicy as I was hoping it was.
it's still interesting.
It kind of is. It's very interesting to nerds.
It's a great discussion, I think.
I think it is going to be a great discussion and a lot more on the agenda. But first, we have to talk about something that just hit overnight.
Yeah, I knew you were going to talk about this.
Supermicro. Have y'all heard about this?
Oh yeah, the
About 20 minutes ago.
The co-founder. Yep.
literally the when Donald threw it in chat.
Yeah. So Supermicro's co-founder was just arrested for allegedly smuggling $2.5 billion in GPUs to China. So basically 3 GPUs.
Yeah. Right.
Man, the mother load.
So let me go ahead and read a little bit of this article here. Federal agents on Thursday arrested Yi Shane. I'm going to butcher these names. Yi Shane Wally Law. Wally Law, really?
Oh wow, butcher maybe not didn't describe that well enough.
All right, a prominent Silicon Valley executive deep in the AI ecosystem who co-founded Supermicro in 1993 and is a close confidant of CEO Chairman Charles Liang. The stock tumbled 12% as of that writing. It's down 28% right now.
Time to buy.
Yes. According to a stunning release from the Department of Justice, an indictment was unsealed in Manhattan on Thursday that charged Liao, 71, and 2 others with allegedly working in secret to divert billions in Supermicro AI servers to China in violation of U.S. export control laws. The 2 alleged co-conspirators charged alongside Liao include Supermicro's Taiwan general manager, Ru Sang Stephen Chang, who remains a fugitive, and a third-party fixer named Ting Wei Willie Sun,
Yeah.
who was also taken in custody on Thursday. The DOJ claims during 2024-2025, Liao took a direct hand in the alleged conspiracy, working with Chang to allegedly find Chinese buyers who wanted servers, which are packed with highly coveted Nvidia GPU chips, according to the indictment. All right, I'm not going to go any further into that. Are we surprised by this?
Nah.
I guess what surprises us, though?
I mean, I wouldn't. Obviously, it's kind of hard to say that it would have been the Supermicro people, but
Right.
the idea that I mean, I would not be surprised if there are other
Right.
Silicon Valley people out there doing that type of thing.
And here's my other thing about this. Is it still in violation of the law? Yes. Is it still something that they had to know that there was liability either for themselves or their company and potential jail time, fines, whatever have you? Yes. Does that make it inherently wrong? Unlawful? Yes.
Well,
But wait. Let me finish the thought here.
okay.
The fact of the matter is these people built themselves up over time and probably had a lot of Chinese partners in that also were people that they have had built relationships with over time. This fixer may not be so much a fixer as much as it is a person who has for a very long time worked with them. Now, I don't know any of this for a fact, but it is not outside the realm of possibility that this new law came in place that we ourselves have ranted a bit about.
I agree.
How it doesn't quite make the most sense.
Agreed.
And if you have a lot of very important maybe personal, intimate relationships with people that you find important, regardless of nationality, there's still this idea that maybe I'm going to do something for you that is not necessarily the best for me, and it's still legal. It's still You're putting yourself on the line for it. They still did wrong as far as all that goes, right? So there are those caveats there, but I don't think there's some big malicious I'm going to betray the United States kind of thing.
Hold on, you say that because you have to prove two things in law, right? You want it, and one of those is intent. Did you intend to defraud anybody?
Well. But so the intent would still be to defraud there, but it's not a malicious, I want to take down the United States. It's, I think this law is stupid.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with taking down the United States. It's money.
It's greed.
Yeah.
It's the idea that, so think of it this way. And there's a lot of things, especially with Silicon Valley. The people that are in Silicon Valley are, for the most part, people that are willing to accept a lot more risk than most other people. You're talking about startup founders, people that are pushing the boundaries of many things. So if all of a sudden you see a business opportunity that it's like, hey, I can make, what was that, $2.1 billion, something like
2.5.
that? $2.5 billion by selling, black market chips.
So here's the.
Are you saying that Silicon Valley startups and founders are more likely to break the law for a quick buck?
I mean, I will say that they are more willing to accept risk.
Do you know what the Silk Road is?
It is absolutely a risk calculation, is it not? All right. So the other thing that the reason why I think these charges are going to stick, and I think there's going to be more fallout from this, is because there's also a thing in law called consciousness of guilt. Did you know what you were doing was wrong and you did it anyway, right? And that can be hard to prove. I know in digital forensics, what we look for is, did they move this file from place A to place B to try to hide it, right? That's consciousness
or
of guilt.
deleting of logs, right? Stuff like that.
To keep this under wraps, the defendants allegedly staged thousands of fake dummy servers, actual physical replicas of Supermicro's actual products at a warehouse where the Southeast Asian company was supposed to be storing its purchases. In reality, the real servers were long gone and gone to China.
Supposedly, and I haven't looked into this one, but our intern had also brought this to us, and he said that they had some video footage of the co-founder actually using a blow dryer in order to remove asset tags and transfer them over to those dummy parts in order to make it look legit.
I don't get it.
I personally use acetone and then just re-glue it. It's a little bit easier.
I just do not understand why you would do that. Because let's say that so Supermicro, $2.5 billion is a lot of money, but if you took those servers and you sold them the legal way, maybe it's $2 billion instead of 2.5.
But that's also why I don't think, because also China has their own market for chips. I mean, they're not the exact same, and obviously Intel has a lot of advancements.
They're absolutely copies of Intel.
But, Intel or Nvidia in this case.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, so that's why I don't think there's a sole money component here. Just because there's plenty of demand in this market, and it's just been ramping up the price. And he could have gotten good money for it here. He didn't need to go to the black market for that. So there's something else there that I think is part of that motive. And I think interpersonal relationships makes more sense to me than or the more nefarious part.
He's on the payroll of the People's Republic of China.
He's an enemy of the state.
You could. So, and obviously you can make links to a lot of things, but it could just straight up be organized crime. Like
it could be.
The idea of, it's not Supermicro taking the monay. It's whatever organized crime unit.
The triads.
Whatever that's behind it.
Well, and there could be people that have stuff over him. We don't know if that was a facet of it.
And probably less so what I'm going to speak on, but there is also a component. How far detached does money make people, right? So us, the working class, we have, certain views on finances, right? I got to eat. I also am not driving a Lamborghini, right? So, and I remember reading this ages ago, there's a certain point where you have so much cash that it gets to you, where nothing matters anymore. You're like, I can buy a Lamborghini. I don't care.
I think there's a certain redacted episode that went into this as well. I think we've talked about this concept before.
Yeah. So is it too crazy to think that maybe he just wanted to do something out of his realm, out of his norm, because he could?
No.
Yeah.
No. I think that one of two possibilities, because I don't think there's a financial motivation here. I really don't.
He has a bunch of money. Yeah. He
has a bunch of money. Supermicro's doing well. They could sell those servers on the open market the legal way and make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Like the financial component is out to me.
Sure.
He's either working directly for the People's Army, the People's Republic Army, whatever they call it,
Which still may be under some level of duress. We don't know, but it could also be voluntary.
or they've got pictures of him in compromised situations.
Sure.
Like they've got him compromised, and they need these servers.
I still say there's a potential that's going to come across maybe wrong, but cultural element. And I mean that broader as in like culture and society. Anyone can have this, American, Chinese, anything, of the idea of interpersonal relationships holding some kind of elevated value. If they are friends from back home that he's had business relations with for years, and I don't necessarily know this, but that is a facet that I think we sometimes forget. Like, how many times have you done business with people because they're friends from back in the old days? And
None of them asked me to commit a crime.
Good defense. Great defense, Richard.
But
I mean, that's kind of where I draw the line.
yeah, but then you also have the detachment
Joe.
part, which I think maybe those
Hey,
two
Joe, can you hold this bag? I'll be back next week to get it.
from you.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing.
How can you prove my consciousness of guilt? I don't know what's in that bag.
Don't look at that bag.
My intent was to hold a bag for you.
Right.
Nothing else.
Exactly.
I didn't know what was in that bag.
Unfortunately, if he then goes and kills someone with the contents of the bag,
Well,
that's capital murder. But we can talk about it on a different episode.
Or here, hold this bag. It's got the gun I used to whack the previous CEO.
All right, well, that's different.
Okay.
Now you've given me too much detail.
Right. I mean, what is a reasonable person going to do? A reasonable person is going to go, okay, man, because you don't want to get shot, and go, FBI, look, there's a thing happening here, and you're going to call somebody.
But we've seen plenty of bajillionaires do just as stupid things because how detached they are.
Yep, and that's why I said the two in tandem together. Yeah, I could see it.
Okay. All right. I think they have something on him.
Probably.
Well, I think also this is a cybersecurity podcast. And
Well, this goes into cybersecurity because this is one of the reasons why we
Cyber
can't
guy.
get equipment.
It is okay. China is the least our worries on that one.
But if
China has nothing to do with why AI why chips in general, memory, any of it are so expensive.
no,
China is not the reason for that.
But would you agree that supply is limited? And would you agree that any of that supply going overseas to a country that shouldn't receive it impacts our ability to get equipment?
Is Supermicro the highest priced on the market?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Then I don't think so.
Anyways, that guy's in jail. Buy stock. Not sponsored, but I wish we were.
Hey, Supermicro, sponsor us.
Maybe not now.
Because actually,
I don't think we
to
wanna
your
be
point,
associated with that.
if Supermicro was really like hiking up their prices comparative to others because of a reduction in stock or because they were trying to make more money from it or whatever have you,
Right.
I would give you that. But overall, that's not necessarily what happened. So,
Well, more details will come out on this as the days and weeks progress, and we will keep an eye on this and update it because it's probably going to be fascinating to follow.
Sure.
oh, and also just because it's very important, nothing we say is ever legal advice.
Let's put that in the description too.
None of us are lawyers. None of us know the law. Not really.
We're drinking beer.
We're just a podcast.
Moving on.
We're just a podcast. That's all we're doing here. All right, so let's move along to Stryker. So last week we talked in depth about Stryker. Of course, it was brand new last week, and so a lot more information has come out about how that breach happened. We had a lot of the information last week and who was responsible, but what we didn't know is how they got in. What exactly happened? Well, it turns out that if y'all remember last week, I was reading through the Reddit threads and I was making fun of the dude that thought he had it figured out.
Said he fished an admin password or something. Yeah.
Evidently, that's what happened.
Well, of course, that's what happened. What is it? 85% of compromises happen from social engineering, and most of those are phishing. I mean,
Same song, same dance.
The Stryker attack impacted all phones and workstations with an Intune base 64 string. Now, we have seen that before.
Yep.
We've seen it locally in Windows. Intune is normally used to push software managed devices through base 64 encoding. The attackers reportedly used encoded commands to trigger remote wipes on all devices tied to the company's Intune environment.
Yep.
So they got access. They created, what they did is they did compromise a administrator. They created a new global admin. Of course, that's the same thing that we see.
Yes.
In attacks.
That's just standard persistence.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
And I do want you to continue, but I have a comment about that specifically.
What was I going to continue about?
Oh, well, if you're done, then
I'm not done, but I got done with that sentence.
Yeah. Well, no, continue.
Well, I don't even know where I was going after that.
Brazos,
a really good sort of beer.
Well, so the important bit is I was hoping he was going to finish the IOCs from this particular thing, because one of the things I find very, very funny about a lot of these like breach reports is they'll like label it as like an IOC for a particular group. And then you read through it and it's just like they phished a user, they logged in through admin, they established persistence with an RMM or another account, and then they deleted everything or they ransomwared everything. And it's like, it's the same exact 5 steps.
Yep.
And then the ending is slightly different. And it may be like how they progress to a step is slightly different, but they all are the same spirit.
The only thing I ever see that really strikes me as being different is different malware for like escalating privileges or maybe C2 communications. Like that's it. Other than that,
domains change, IPs change.
Right, right. But I mean, other than that's pretty much it. And that's the thing is like even within that IOC like bank, the C2 communications to an IP or to a domain, I can flag those for the next 2 months maybe, but it doesn't mean anything past that.
Well, to be honest, you could flag them for the next hour, and then after that they're gone. Like they're dead. So
yeah.
Do you think though, if there was some sort of malware or whatever file, do you think they would have released true IOCs like hash of this file, behavior of this?
Well, I think somebody would have.
And I think in this particular case, it's not necessary. So I oftentimes...
there was no malware.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, and I oftentimes tell a lot of clients this whenever doing investigations. Whenever I'm looking at an investigation, I'm looking at how things have played out so far. I go, if I were an attacker, what is my next logical step? Where do I want to get in order to get the thing that I want to do, right? Sometimes it helps to identify the attacker's motive, whether it be like ransomware money or in like Handala's case, just the destroying of whatever's there. Whenever you start identifying that helps you kind of point in the direction that they want to go. But for the most part, if I'm on the network, I want to discover what I have access to. Who am I? Do I need to escalate my privileges? If I've already got an escalated account, like a domain admin or something like that, okay, my next thing is persistence. I want to make sure I can get back in if they figure out that I'm here. And so there's some very basic things that is just the logic of how an attacker works in order to make sure they can do what they want to do. In this particular case, once they got in through the phishing, setting up a secondary account for persistence is really all you need to do.
We don't know that it was a phishing attack.
Well,
because
however they compromised the user, which most likely was some form of social engineering.
Well, they this article talks about Checkpoint. Checkpoint started observing months ahead of time VPN accounts, paid for VPN accounts being used to brute force Stryker infrastructure.
Yeah.
So my question at that point is, if they did brute force an administrator account, where was MFA? Because there is nothing in here that I've seen where MFA was enforced.
What was the it was Power School, wasn't it? That back end support account didn't have MFA on it.
Exactly.
So I mean, There, unfortunately, man, so MFA, it's like people have been screaming for years to get that deployed. And I think we have seen that the adoption of MFA become or get higher. Like the percentage of people that are actually using MFA has increased substantially in the last 3 years. And now, as we evolve, attackers evolve, and so they found ways to get through that with the proxy-based attack or the
frustrating
adversary
I know exactly
in the
what
middle.
you're talking about.
But even still, there are a subsection of users, and it's still pretty big, that do not use MFA.
Right.
Even again, we've seen it, and I've seen where people do it where their end users are MFA'd, but then the admins aren't. And it's like, that's really bad.
Well, I mean, they're the tech team. It never happened to them, right?
Yeah. So
According to
I know better.
According to this article, the Hondola logo appeared on login pages weeks before the wipe command was issued.
So
they had been battling this for a while, according to this source.
So I saw some of that in the Reddit thing, and it's really funny, because in that there were a few users that were like, "Yeah, I finally saw the Hondola logo in the background." So what happened is they put it on the background of the page, but the login window comes up.
Yes.
And so everyone was so focused on the login window and they never paid attention to the icon that was in the background. Most of the users didn't notice that there was a Hondola logo all of a sudden in the background.
yeah. So if they controlled that infrastructure, they could have basically stolen all those passwords.
Oh yeah.
Well, and
Over
remember,
weeks.
Stryker has a DoD contract. How many emails back and forth did they send to DoD? And
Right.
the ramifications of this are going to be wild for months to come. But really, what gets me about this thing is that this wasn't a PowerShell command, a base encoded PowerShell command. Evidently, there's a button in Intune that says wipe all devices.
Yeah, this was not a bug. This was not an attack. This was not an exploit. This was a feature.
Well, it's living off the land, but destruction based.
Yeah.
So with a button with that kind of power, don't you feel like that a notification should have went out to someone that said, "Hey"?
Well, so we don't know that it didn't. Because it wiped the devices, it didn't remove the accounts. And so an email may have very well gone to an account for one of the administrators saying that these actions were taken.
And I mean,
but if the device was wiped, how are you accessing it?
That's probably my thing. And I think we're going to talk about this even for our next portion.
Right.
Even if you got an email, it's too late for that type of thing. The command's already running. You may be able to save some machines, but the destruction's already done once you click run. You would need something that's prior to that. Again, kind of going to the idea of the indicator of most significance. That's too late. The indicate that's way down. That's basically when the locker gets deployed. It's the exact same idea.
And in this case, I will say that the admins and the higher ups and everyone, they knew what was going on. Again, they've been in there for weeks. This was not like our other situation we're going to talk about here in a little bit, to where maybe that notice would have been more pertinent. In this particular case, they had prior knowledge.
Well, here's the other thing. We also don't know what style of notification gets deployed. So MDM software, how do we know it's not just a pop-up? So even whenever I get a pop-up that says your phone will update in a minute. And whether I click OK or not, it gets updated. So if they did this overnight, there could have been a notification on the actual devices themselves, but it's like you said, what does it matter? The command has been
done.
queued, and it's going to launch at a time where you can't stop it.
Yep.
You would think that Microsoft and Google, which we'll talk about in a little bit, would have a 2-key option for something like that.
Oh, like the missile thing you turn at the same time?
Yeah. I want to say I saw something about someone trying to, or one of these vendors talking about implementing that, and maybe in response to this. I'm not sure. It's just in the back of my mind. I saw something about that recently. Maybe it was something in our chat that was talking about it. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have stated it because I don't have anything for that.
You don't have any evidence
I
for
don't
that?
have anything for any of that. You're right. That's probably a good idea. We should look into that.
We should look into it.
I have a feeling that
We got top people on it.
that will most likely become a thing.
Yeah.
Because it is a logical step of allowing larger enterprise organizations that would have multiple decision makers for that type of thing to be able to turn it on. And so especially just for change management, like just change management in general.
Just
like,
think if you've got a pissed off administrator. I mean, we know a lot of IT folks get pissy, right? They get pissed off and,
It was in our chat,
Okay.
and it was Microsoft talking about multi-admin approval.
Yes.
I've
got it right
here. It was Donald who posted it, and so yes, they are thinking about it.
But I also imagine that still has to be in a hierarchy. It has to be, because I mean, even if you think about the basic Windows structure, NT authority doesn't need to ask anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm imagining there has to be a top level, like a global, as an example, that can do whatever they want. And if they get that account, what good does it do to have multiple admin approval?
But here's what I'm saying is that the risk of an insider doing something bad is high enough, right?
Yes.
Again, I get back to my previous point. No offense to all of the IT folks out there, but we have worked cases where it's an insider that caused most of the damage.
Yeah.
On their way out, they're like, screw you guys. And how many calls have we gotten? Hey, we just let somebody go. I need to make sure there's no back doors. There's nothing like that, right? A 2-key solution would solve a lot of that. It would mitigate most of the risk. Now, you can't really mitigate collusion.
Well, and then I think there's also something to be said, and I get to have a fun story time here for real quick, because I don't think you've actually even heard this part, or what? Yeah, because it doesn't matter who you are. Like you said earlier about the tech admins. Well, that would never happen to me for not setting up like MFA, right? And I think there is maybe that idea amongst some people in the tech world of, I know enough, it couldn't get me. And that's just not the case. That's not how any of this works. It preys upon the very essence of what makes you human, of wanting to do the right thing, of urgency, all this fun stuff. So I actually had a call while my foot was broken, which it still is technically right now, but whenever it first started and I was staying home, I got a call, and they said they were from the sheriff's office.
Really?
Yeah, and they told me that I had missed a grand jury summons. Well, my house is being renovated right now, and I was like, well, I didn't get any mail about that. I didn't sign anything. And he's like, well, we have it that on this date you signed it, and we have your signature. And I was like, well, yeah, I've been living with my in-laws for the time being, so I wasn't at home, so I guess someone could have signed for me. I don't know. I don't remember. I certainly didn't do it. And he's like, well, you're going to have to come down to the station and prove that. And it's like, all right, okay, sure. I'll come down to the station and everything. And I was like, I just wanted to verify some things. Can you tell me your name? Can you tell me? And you're going to find this funny. He said his name was John Gimble at first.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then he said that's his captain. And,
okay.
and then I was like, wait, your captain's John Gimble? You mean the county clerk? Like
it's district clerk, but yeah,
district clerk. And I was like, we do like business with him, or like we've had some conversations with him.
I know him well, yeah,
right. And I was like, I don't know what's your name? His name is like Ron Howard or something like that, which it wasn't actually Ron Howard. I can't remember what name. It was something Howard, but I looked it up and he was a cop, but a cop in Dallas or something like that. Anyway, so we keep on going. At this point in time, I'm skeptical, but I'm still like, man, he's just asking me to go down to the sheriff's office. It could still be legit. Maybe they just have the same name.
Right.
Maybe, that happens, right? And so I'm like, all right, fine. I'll do this, whatever have you. I'm literally like getting dressed because like I've been off my foot all day, and like I'm like hobbling around my house trying to get to the car. And he's like, you're going to have to stay on the phone with me because we need to, in case you get pulled over, we wanted to be able to tell the cops that
what?
Right? Exactly. And then he transfers me over to his superior officer, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, sure, whatever, that's fine. Transferred me over. Guy has a put on Texan accent.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, very obvious. Gives me some other crazy name, and I look up the name because I don't think they expect you to have 2 phones, and we got a work phone and a personal phone. So I look up on my work phone, and the guy works with DPS, and I'm like, "You're not with the sheriff's office. You're with the DPS. I got you right here." And he's like, "Well, no, I'm in the sheriff's office. I'm a captain." And I'm like, "Well, you have a different name than the captain the other guy said." And he's like, "Well, there's multiple people that are here, captains and whatever." And I'm like, "I don't know who was it that transferred me over to you." I don't know the name of every single person that transferred. Dude, I'm catching. There's so many weird things here.
Yeah.
And then he starts saying, "Well, you're going to have to go down to the bond office and pay for the bond and then come in, or I'm going to have to book you for 45 days. And I'm like, "I'm on my way to the sheriff's office right now. You go ahead and book me. We're going to have a conversation."
Yeah.
He's like, "You go ahead and come on down here." So, and he hangs up on me. I call up the sheriff's office. "Hey, so I've got these 3 names for you. You know any of those people know anything about me missing grand jury summons?" "No, that's a scam. Hang up on them." But they got me in the car,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I knew about this kind of scam before, but it still was enough legitimacy to get me in the car. It does not matter how smart you are. It does not matter how much you know. I had enough knowledge to know that I'm not paying anything.
Right.
Like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But I could easily see how someone who doesn't have just that little bit of information could get caught by this very easily.
I'm going to give everybody in this room a piece of advice. If there's a subpoena involved, they will find you and bring it to you. Ask me how I know.
Deliver.
Ask me how I know. Every subpoena that I've had delivered because of forensic cases I've worked on has been delivered.
To be fair, that's a subpoena, not a warrant.
Yeah.
A warrant, you can have a warrant out for your arrest and it not be delivered to you yet.
Right.
And you still get arrested.
But you didn't have a warrant. You had a summons.
Well, but they said I missed a summons and therefore they put out a warrant.
Okay.
That's what they had told me. And that was enough for me to go, I guess let me hobble my ass down there and figure it out.
I mean,
and
I can see that because you do work for a cybersecurity company and you may be a target.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I don't think it was that.
That's a perspective change, you know? I'm like, if the cops want me, they're going to have to find me.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm in the Bermuda Triangle right now.
You know, it's one of those things where the first time I got served with a subpoena, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, right? It's like, oh shit, somebody walked up to the office door and said, you've been served. Mm-hmm. Literally like that. I'm like, oh crap. I've had them drive up to the house. I've had them come to my house. DPS trooper come up to my house. Here you go. I'm like, oh.
Richard who? No, he's not dead.
That's why I have a standing order. If there's any dude in a suit with an envelope in our foyer, I'm not here.
I don't think you want to say that.
Well,
oh shit! I just outed myself.
No, wait, hold on. That's what you would say if that was your intent, right?
Yes.
In this theoretic in Minecraft.
Yes.
That still works, right?
What is I making fun of somebody for OPSEC this morning?
So what happened with Intune?
That'll be the greatest 2 minutes of silence after we redact the audio.
Okay, so
Intune.
I'm going to preface this next conversation by saying Microsoft needs to stop thinking about how they're going to screw up the consoles and where they're going to put certain features, because you know, and I know, and anybody that's worked like investigations in the Microsoft tenant, they keep moving shit. Well, and you never know where it's going to be.
Microsoft's not moving it.
Who's moving it?
Copilot.
Oh,
which
big Copilot, big AI.
So a couple fun things here that I just want to interject in the conversation. I'm just going to put them as things out there, and you guys can do with them what you will. Number one is Microsoft has finally decided that Copilot is not something that should just be pushed on people, and they are no longer going to just be auto installing
it. Took them like 3 years, huh?
Yeah. And number two is the whole article about the FedRAMP, which is that they got FedRAMP certified, even though the federal government, and this is a quote, saw their environment as nothing but a pile of shit.
Dog shit, I think, is what was quoted.
And so they went through that process and still managed to get FedRAMP certified, which that's weird.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
And so with your whole moving categories and consoles and everything else, it really makes you wonder what's happening up there in the cloud.
Well, we worked an investigation last month where an entity, an organization, got their office environment compromised, and they got shut down by was it Microsoft?
Yeah, Microsoft shut them down. It was rate limited because of the number of emails going out. Yeah,
right. And they shut them down, and even in cleanup, we're trying to go through that console, trying to figure out where things are, where the logs are, and they move them every week.
I think the most
the thing, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but specifically on the changing too, that is quite annoying is a lot of times they do have them in the same locations, but depending on what you're subscribed to, it's different where that they still have for example, let's take a login log, right? Login log?
Yeah.
But a login log, and I'm just using this as an example. I don't know if this is a true example to Microsoft, but if you have A5, that may be in Purview, but if it's not, it's in Intra, or maybe it's an O365 admin. It's so confusing where they put stuff based on subscription, or if they move it, or whatever.
Well, and what we found is, depending on what offerings you're using from them, there's also multiple places to enable and enforce MFA. Yes.
Can Donald hear us?
What? Why?
He just linked to in the podcast chat. Fake compliance is a service.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, these are live video streams. They're going to his data center.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I'm pretty sure it's going on an SSD right there.
I mean, there's plenty of on the
data center full of super micros.
Oh yeah.
On the compliance front, I mean, you can see it. There's tons of those new startups that are trying to use AI to fast track all that crap.
We are not the only ones that questioned, if this happened to Stryker, why wasn't there some sort, and we don't know that there wasn't, right? But I find it highly unusual that Microsoft went out of their way to publish an article to prevent this from happening in the future, and basically setting up Intune so that you basically have a two key system on that. I haven't gone through but do you realize how many roles in Intune can change stuff around?
Yeah,
it's like,
well, and again, if you have multi-factor in multiple places, maybe you have multi-factor on Intune, but for some reason you don't have multi-factor on your Exchange environment, and next thing you know, they're able to hook up a connector into your API, and they've got things going through there.
So
it's
it talks about multi-admin approval permissions, and it talks about how you do that. Right? To create and manage access policies for multi-admin approval, the customer needs to create an access policy, read access policy, update the access policy, and delete access policy permission. So you have to go into each and one of those policies and add that role, but you can create that role. It's not a pre-assigned. You don't have to have a global admin role. So you can create a role that says Intune specialist that has all these permissions. Now, if you're auditing that, how would you determine
who has what?
Who can do what?
So this has been our problem on the
freaking group policy on steroids.
So we have our Connect app, right? And that brings in a bunch of logs, and it's been very great for the investigative side. But I'll be honest, we've had some issues with building some alerting side of it, and it's because of the arbitrary nature of so many of these cloud offerings. Whereas in the AD environment, I know if you have domain admin, you have keys to the castle. It's by rote.
Or enterprise admin.
Right.
Yeah.
There is no equivalent really on the, especially on the Google side, but even on the Intra side, or on the Intra Azure side of things for Microsoft. You can do so much more with the roles and permissions and label it however you want to, and it makes it to where if we're just looking at logs, it's very hard to determine whenever someone does something from a specific group.
Yes.
If that group is an elevated group.
Yeah.
or not. And some of the logs don't include the group information. It just has a user account.
Right.
Okay, well, if I don't know what the user account is tied to by rote, then it makes it very, very hard to build out anything from specific log events or for signatures of particular accounts or anything else like that without having some major like logic matrixy built out.
I contend that's by design.
So
yes, it's convoluted by design.
I do think one of the things, and it's kind of like an issue with the methodology that potentially even ourselves are using, but I think the industry at large is focusing on the role and not the actual permissions.
Right.
So, for example, we know that any role that has read, write, execute is probably going to be something that you want to take a look at. And I'm using that as an example. Their cloud models don't really follow the read, write, execute model.
Right.
But that is a highly privileged user if they have all the permissions that they're able to do. And so that is one of the things that like you could look at, even if there's 1,000 different roles. Well, what is the exact permission? What does that permission allow that person to do? And it could like, then you could group it by permission versus, so now you've got intra admin, you've got forest admin,
so,
you've got whatever, and then maybe okay, those all have user management under them, right?
So and maybe that goes into what the.
But I will say, like the cloud based, they don't report that in the logging very well. I'm just saying, like if you're actually doing like an audit or being able to pull that information.
If you have access to the full tenant and can go into the settings themselves, yes, you could enumerate all that. There's no automated way to do that other than through the tools for that specific vendor, which I think is maybe my issue. Is that for third-party vendors and companies, it makes it very hard.
There's no standard for roles and permissions. Like Google has a different set of roles and permissions than Active Directory, and then you are getting some new. And here's another like thought that kind of crossed my mind. Outside of some fringe cases here, because looking at the people that are still using Novell,
all three of them.
Really and truly, there's only two major directory and IDP services that, I mean, I guess there's Okta or whatever, but that's like enterprise.
Yeah.
And that
the ones that we run into, Google, Microsoft.
Right.
And even then, most of the time it's Microsoft for on-prem, Google for the cloud.
But so even with that, you even with all the admin roles, and let's just say in the perfect world, the utopia that we all want to live in, we've got all the roles and permissions and structure figured out. It makes sense to everybody. Everybody understands it. You can look at it and kind of just by looking at it, you kind of can figure it out. You have super admin. You have the guy or gal who set the entire thing up from the get. And that becomes a problem. How do I know? Because this week, last week, we got called in to an incident where a Google domain was completely toasted
and by toasted, we mean deleted. All the accounts deleted.
All the accounts gone. Couldn't log into anything. Couldn't get anywhere.
No email,
no drive. And this is a K-12 institution, by the way.
And from what we can tell, no like data, like there was no
data exfil.
Yeah, there was no like syncing of vaults or anything else. It was just they deleted the accounts.
Well, they deleted the accounts and then they created new domains based on the account. Now, what wound up happening, and this has been going on for the last couple of weeks, what wound up happening is the super admin user, the user that set up the edu domain at the jump 20 years ago, whenever Google Edu became a thing, 15 years ago, whenever it was, that's the account that got popped. And when that account got popped, the attackers were able to wipe everything.
And one thing just because I do think that there is a lot of people that have moved from one location to another and they've inherited a Google domain. I do want to mention, even though you are most likely a super admin, you may not be the owner of the tenant.
Agreed.
Because
Right.
even so we have a Google tenant. I am a super admin of that Google tenant. I am not the owner. That guy is.
I am the owner.
He doesn't I can change his password. I can, as a super admin, I can remove his access, but
Yes.
I do not have the ability to make any of the other changes that the owner level account. And there's not even a really, unless I don't know if you log in and can see it, but from my end, there is basically no difference between my
So,
account and your account when I look at it.
Here's what happens. And this is what happened in this case. The super admin account got compromised. The admins of the tenant they tried to log in, they couldn't. Their account was deleted. All the users in the tenant had been deleted.
Yeah.
We talked to that admin. Did you get any notifications? No, we did not get anything. Have you seen anything weird? No, we haven't seen anything weird. At that point, it's Google. We can't help.
Right.
It took them a week and a half to get Google on the phone to let them know, for Google to track down what the issue was. And they are still having issues trying to get drive back.
Well, they're basically having to manually re-enable each account.
Yes, they can't even enable API access right now for us to keep an eye on things because the entire thing was just yeeted into the void. And evidently, Google allows you to do that.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I may be. In what the Google engineers told them, some of this was also initiated by Google because they recognized malicious activity.
So,
and I don't understand why Google would
here's
limit.
Here's the way I understand it: that when the super admin account was compromised,
The owner,
the owner account was compromised. There was new domains tied to that account, and looking at what they were doing, it
Did
looks
they
like
buy those domains through Google?
they bought them through Namecheap.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to take over here because I find it so crazy interesting. This account had two domains. They had a secondary domain that they didn't really use and a primary domain that they were using a lot. The attackers, whenever they got access, they deleted the secondary domain and joined a new domain to the account that they owned. And then they populated 10 to 20,000 users and started sending out a bunch of emails. And then
It was like they were setting up C2.
And then they deleted it all on the secondary domain and did it again. They did this 7 different times that the Google people were able to find before they finally just were either caught or whatever, and Google shut down the workspace. And that's whenever the client lost access to their accounts.
Okay, so they had been doing the domain portion prior to the deletion of the account.
Yes.
Okay, and then Google to the blacklisting thing basically, but instead of just either revoking, they just killed it.
They
hit the kill all
this
button.
is malicious, and
Now-
shut it all down.
I mean, and when I said they shut it all down, they shut it all down to the level where the user was having to provide identification.
Yeah.
And
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have gotten some of the pieces of this particular investigation, so I'm reacting as if I'm a viewer to this particular podcast.
It's great, isn't it?
So what did Google not surface any notification for the added of the domain, adding of the domains?
Right. Not that we're aware of.
7 different times, and Google didn't flag that. And then after all that, they just shut down the domain and didn't tell the users they were going to delete their accounts.
They never notified anybody. They never once reached out and said, "Hey, we're seeing some weird stuff."
Wait. This is one win for like CISA and the FBI. They would have at least sent somebody out there to hand you a letter about it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So is it?
Hold on.
They're using the free version, I believe, right?
Yeah, they were using the free version.
Is there? Can the argument not be made? Are forwarding rules exclusive to the paid version?
There are all kinds of arguments that can be made about,
unfortunately,
being self-reliant and taking care of your crap.
No, well, not so much that. What I'm saying is, and maybe Brazos, you can answer this. Like forwarding rules are a global thing that you can set. Is that paid or free?
Well, you can set forwarding rules like that's
globally, right? Yeah. Like domain wide. Because who's to say they didn't have rules to pick up those certain headers that they already knew?
Well,
and then
that's
delete
true.
them, right?
Because the attacker was not touching the main domain.
Yeah, they were just adding users.
Because the whole point was a secondary domain, and they could do whatever they wanted with that, and it would never be seen by the actual users.
And to your point about CISA, at least they didn't, CISA didn't show up. That has yet to be seen. I fully expect the feds to show up in June going, "Hey, you've been compromised."
Yeah, I'm just saying from my prior experience, at least they've tried to come out and tell you before.
But I do find it crazy that Google, I mean, they basically deleted this domain and didn't tell the users that they did it.
My thing is like that now that you've explained that, because I know we had kind of a conversation prior to this, the thing that is kind of weird to me is if Google, even an automated system, noticed there's been 7 different domains added, thousands of users added, bulk emailing.
Right.
You would think, so you know how if you've ever done Google dorking and then all of a sudden you get the pop-up, like,
you get the pop-up.
we have identified suspicious activity. Are you a robot? Like you would think they would do that for the email. We send it maybe to all the admins or something like, hey, we've identified suspicious activity from your
even if
account.
they just blacklisted the email domain, that's still vastly different than deleting the account. And they didn't suspend the accounts either.
Yeah.
Like overall, it's very weird, and it makes me question Google's.
Is it by design?
Well, it makes me question whether Google actually deleted the accounts, or if this is something else entirely. If they were fully blindsided, I'm just saying that not everything
is
adds
probably
up fully.
an automated system that it hit like a threshold and then it killed the account.
I mean that's possible too.
But my thing is that you would think that prior to that automatic threshold, like whatever that is, it would have said something because again, I know for a fact that whenever you send too many emails out, it will tell you, hey, you've hit a sending limit. Or again, the Google dorking example, it gives you a little pop-up and says, hey, we've identified suspicious activity, confirm you're not a robot. You click the thing, you move on. So maybe this is just one of those things that just does not happen very often. And so it's like, it's in the...
Well, and I think a further frustration on it
and I'm sorry, I want to add something about, this is the first time we've ever seen something that. Like that is a weird type of attack.
You know how many times we've said that in the past 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get to that here in a second, right?
You knew us.
Wait, what? Oh, we need to get that here soon. It's 53 minutes. All right. So, but real quick, I want to say that this was further complicated by the fact that because they had a free license, they were not given full support access.
Yeah.
And so submitting the ticket actually became a whole thing in order to be able to get
we
this
had
process
to submit
rolling.
a ticket on
we had to we have a paid license, so we had to submit a ticket going, hey, this other person has a ticket in, you might want to look at that.
Yeah.
So
that was kind of funny.
Free is not free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, free is not free. Sometimes you pay for access. Sometimes you pay for just support.
And I will say and this is another thing on why, and I think a lot of these big companies, it does suck because even if you pay for it, their support is terrible. Like,
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure y'all have read some of the Reddit threads about people that pay like the bukus of money for like Microsoft's premium support, and then it's still like
Copilot.
terrible.
Well,
like literally $25,000 support licenses where you're supposed to have, like, if you need an engineer to fly out to your location, they will, and it's still bad.
Well,
So,
I mean, even in this case, once we got support on the line, they're like, okay, it's going to take us 48 to 72 hours to actually like figure out what's going on, let alone do anything.
It boggles the mind. Like, where
3 hours or 3 days.
Where are the backups? And it took a week and a half, and they still don't have drive.
Yeah.
Right.
They
Well,
still don't have email.
and I will mention that is a part of, and now this does not relinquish Google of any sort of liability, but there is the thing about the cloud stuff. It's supposed to be a shared responsibility model.
Agree.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's
Agreed.
what a lot of people do forget about that is like, and I've heard it where when people throw their stuff in Drive or, you know, OneDrive, whatever that may be, they're like, well, it's backing it up for me. It's there.
Well,
and that's
and-
not true.
So if the super admin account had been disabled, if the super admin account or the owner account had MFA on it, it's likely that this attack would not have been bad, right? The problem is that it did. Where is the control? Like, there is no way Google can get away with this. You should have configured it correctly. It's on you.
There
Right.
should at least be a notification. I agree with you on the backup part.
Yeah.
Though I can understand how there can be a little bit of a confusion about it with the Google Vault. Google sells Google Vault as being a way to recover things very easily. Now, granted, that only goes back so far, so it wouldn't be like a full recovery, but it should be like, hey, for like the last month, 2 months, I should be able to maybe just pull things back from Google Vault. But they were denied access to their accounts because of this, and with no notification. So that goes well beyond.
Yeah, I mean, I do, because if it was truly Google that decided that they were going to just hit the red, even if it was an automated solution, hit the big red button saying delete. And I know whenever you go to terminate those accounts, it's like, this is a permanent action. All of these things are going to be gone, blah, blah, blah. So if they did that and it was Google that took that action, both either person, SOC analysts there, whatever, whoever it may be, identified this behavior, or it was an automated system that kicked off. It's probably somewhere in their T's and C's, but it's like, yeah, I do think that there is some liability somewhat to the idea that you did delete the backups entirely.
Let's not be naive about this. It's free, but Google's making a shit ton of money off these free.
Oh yeah.
Google free to use stuff.
I mean, just the data. Just the
they're
data
scraping
alone.
the data,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So they do have some responsibility here.
The thing is there's all the other ecosystem components to it.
Yes,
like,
yes.
You know, Chrome, like Chromebooks, you get that. Chrome itself, you know, your ad revenue.
There are some brilliant people out there that exist. Their brilliance is just for trying to screw over people.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
And all of them got employed by Google.
There's plenty of them to go around.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Microsoft, allegedly.
Right.
Yeah. So
Hail the corporate overlords.
that is it for this week's episode. Next week, we are going to talk about
Something.
a ransomware attack initiated by disk defragmenter. What?
Yeah. We definitely need to get into the new things we've seen.
Yes,
the
we
number of I've never seen this before that's happened over the last few weeks.
But for all listeners out there, I want to.
I did kind of make a post about that on LinkedIn.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Go follow Brazos on LinkedIn.
And I still need to get you a white paper at some point in time about all that because it's
Robocopy.exe is not your friend.
It does do the thing. No, it does. It does the thing.
I know it does.
A car takes you somewhere. It doesn't run over the people, though.
So join us next week for that. But for everyone
Speaking
listening,
of cars running over streets, did I ever tell you how my sister ended up in jail?
and
It's like with that, we're ending the podcast.
and with that,
Off the record.
join us next week when we talk about disk defragmenter. Everybody say bye.